Hi folks, just a quick little video on how to evaluate algebraic expressions. The word evaluate in algebra means let's get rid of those pesky letters and put in numbers. Right? And we're going to use our calculator to get an answer. We're not solving anything, we're putting numbers in and chugging along and getting an answer. All right, so let's get to work doing that. The easiest way to do that is to look at the problem carefully, of course. And the problem says, find the value of each algebraic expression below. And we have our first one. Here's our expression, x plus 9. And then it says we want to find the value when x is equal to -4. So what does that mean? It means wherever we see an x, we're going to put in a -4. Remember that the best way, or one way to never kind of screw up with negative numbers, is to always put them in parentheses. You don't really have to in this case, but I'm going to just to be sure. The key strategy, and I'm even going to get loud here, the key strategy is to rewrite the expression with the numbers taking the place of the letters, right? So wherever we see an x, we want to replace it with a -4. First one is pretty simple. Here's our x. So I'm going to rewrite it. What am I going to rewrite? I'm going to take this -4 in parentheses and put it down here. And I'm going to bring the rest of the expression along, plus 9. I'm going to look at it. Did I do what I was supposed to do? Yeah, I replaced the x with the -4. I double checked what I have. Now I have what I have written down. I'm going to enter in the calculator exactly the way I have it written down. You might have to practice with your calculator a little bit, right, and refresh yourself with where the buttons are. But use the TI-30XS calculator if you have one. If you're not, use the phone app for those of you that have an Android, right, the T30 phone app, and it's pretty much the same as my calculator here, but this is the same calculator you'll be using on the GED test. So what do we have to do? We have to enter this, parentheses -4 plus 9. So find the parentheses, enter it, check your keystrokes, -4, close parentheses, plus sign 9, enter. And I get an answer of 5, right? Final answer, I'm going to circle it. All right, we can put any kind of expression in there that we want. Our next expression says x over 5, or we can read that as a division sign, right? In algebra, we know that the fraction bar represents division. X divided by 5 for x equals 35. And we can probably do that one in our head. But how would we do that in the calculator? Again, we're going to follow that procedure. Always put it down on paper, right? So wherever we see an x, we're going to substitute 35. So there's my 35 over 5, and I'm going to put that in the calculator. The easiest way to put in a fraction in the calculator is to hit the first number, then the ND key, and then enter the bottom number, right? I have it all in there. It's always a good idea to kind of get out of the fraction first so it looks nice, 35 over 5, just the way I wrote it, and hit enter, 7. Okay, we have a third problem. Oh no, excuse my coughing, move this up a little bit. So our third problem here has 2 letters, right? No big deal. One thing we should do when you have 2 letters, or we're showing multiplying, and that's what things next to each other in algebra means, is to put the numbers in parentheses, and it takes care of the multiplying. So the way I'm going to rewrite this one is I'm going to write 3, and wherever I see a letter, I'm going to write parentheses. And A, my first number that I want to put in, is a +4. I don't have to put the positive sign in, so I'm just going to put 4. I see a second letter, so I'm going to write a second house of parentheses. Sometimes I call parentheses houses. So 3 AB, my B is 2. I see a plus sign, I'm going to bring that down, and then I have a B. Since it's just there by itself and I'm not multiplying it, I'm just going to put 2 down. So I wrote it exactly the way it is. 3 times 4 times 2, 3 times A times B, plus another B, which is 2, and I'm going to put it in the calculator, right? Just like that. 3 parentheses, 4, close parentheses, open parentheses, 2, close parentheses, plus 2, enter, 26. All right. Couple more problems here. Let's move along. Oops, moved along too far. Our second problem here, now they get a little more complicated. Here is negative n7 plus 14. All right. Now, the problem with this one is, where is that negative sign? Does it go? It looks like it's in the middle. One good little trick to always remember is that when in doubt, put the negative sign with the top number. All right. So that's the way I'm going to write this. I'm going to write the fraction bar. I'm going to write the 7. And whatever the top number is, I'm going to put that negative sign with the top number. So I'm going to write this one as negative 28 over 7. I could have put that in parentheses too, but it's not important for this one. Plus 14. So the trick there was, if I see a negative sign in the middle of a fraction, throw it up on the top shelf. Negative 28 ND fraction bar, right? Put the 7 in there, enter, negative 4. Final answer. One more to do, and just going to move a little bit. So I put a real complicated looking one in here with a bunch of, with a fraction bar, parentheses, exponents. And again, just get familiar with the calculator, and as long as you rewrite it correctly, you can put it in the calculator. So let's just get to it here. 4z, I'm going to put 4, right? Z I can represent with the parentheses, and because I have a negative number, I'm going to do that. And that means multiply. 4z, 4 times negative 1. And again, you can have parentheses within parentheses. Don't worry about that as long as you don't miss one. So the next thing I see is another parentheses. And then I have z, negative 1. And in this case, it's not being multiplied or anything, so I can just kind of put it in there like that. Minus 4. And again, that's a negative sign, that's a minus sign. Close the parentheses, square it. And then on the bottom, I'm going to have 5. Where I see my z, I'm going to put another parentheses, negative 1. Close the parentheses, and then I see that it's squared. I'm going to put the 2 up here. Now I have something I can put in the calculator, and I have to stop thinking, right, and just put it in the calculator. All right, how do I put all this crap in the calculator? It's a fraction bar, so I'm going to start with the fraction by hitting ND. All right, and I'm going to put the top expression in. 4 parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, parentheses, negative 1, subtract 4, parentheses. How do I get that 2 up in the air? Don't forget we have an x squared key over here, x squared, right? It's everything on the top exactly. I double check it against what I wrote here over on the left. And now I want to put in my bottom number, right? So I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to hit 5, parentheses, negative 1, close parentheses, x squared. Everything is in there. I hit enter. My answer is negative 50. Here endeth the lesson.